Hi, I'm Chris Good. I'm a lecturer and the Director of Undergraduate Studies here in the Department of Psychology at Georgia State University, and this is an introductory video to give an overview of a series of screen capture videos I'm going to record called How to Write a Scientific Literature Review. So to give you some background on the literature review I'm going to be writing, I need to tell you about our program that's called BRAIN. BRAIN stands for Behavioral Research Advancements in Neuroscience, and it is a summer research program for undergraduates. It goes for 10 weeks, and we specifically recruit underrepresented minorities, so students who are members of groups that are underrepresented in the sciences. And we offer this because we're pretty sure we know that participating in research as an undergraduate helps students succeed in science careers, but we're not really exactly sure how it helps them. So one of the things that we do as sort of leaders of this summer program is we're also doing research on the participants in the program. We're trying to figure out how exactly they're benefiting from participating in undergraduate research in neuroscience. And I'm not alone. We have a large research team, and everyone on the team is devoted to answering this question. On the team, there are 4 neuroscientists. All of them have a science education focus. I'm one of those people. My background's in neuroscience. We have a statistician, so full-time, well, not full-time, but a person who's in charge of doing our statistics for us and working with us on that. There are 3 social science researchers with backgrounds in education, and they focus on more qualitative methods of measuring behavior. And we have one science education advisor from Emory, Bob DeHaan, who's sort of guiding us on our research into education. So while the students are doing neuroscience and they're measuring how the things that are related to how the brain produces behavior, we're measuring things about those students. So we have a number of different surveys that we administer throughout the program. We measure 2 things that are related to self-efficacy, or the degree to which one thinks they can use their skills in a particular area to solve problems. And the 2 areas that we're really interested in, we think are relevant to undergraduate research. One is just doing science research, and the other one is leadership and teamwork abilities. So we think both of these things are important, things that might develop and grow during summer undergraduate research experience. And it's really this first part, this first measurement that I mentioned here, that's the focus of the writing that I'm going to be describing. And so I'll be speaking more about that later on. We're interested in people's moods during the program, so we want to ask about their anxiety with science topics, specifically neuroscience topics. We think that they might be growing a sense of identity as a scientist, and so we want to measure that throughout our program. Commitment to science careers is something we're directly interested in. We want students to, through their experience in the summer, grow or solidify their commitment to pursuing a career in science. And we also have some more qualitative measurements as well. So we're asking people in focus groups and interviews about what they've gotten out of the program and to what they attribute those gains. So the writing project that I'm going to focus on comes out of a request from one of our research team members who is on a separate project writing a book. The book's topic is really broad. It's about this construct of self-efficacy broadly, or the degree to which you're confident you can use skills in some particular area to solve problems and to succeed. And she thought that our team might be able to use our research project of an example of how we can apply general theories about self-efficacy to a specific and practical problem of getting students into science careers, and relating that undergraduate research experience to success in science. So the reason that I wanted to start putting this series of videos together on my contribution to this chapter — she didn't want us to write the book, she wanted us to write just one chapter in this book — is because I teach writing to students, and scientific writing in particular. And this book chapter is really about social science. It's about this social science construct of self-efficacy. And a lot of students that I meet struggle with their beginnings in scientific writing. And so it was kind of fortuitous that I found myself in a situation where I'm faced with a writing project in a topic that I know a little bit about and I have an interest in, but I don't have a lot of experience. My background is in neuroscience, and I'm used to measuring biological changes that happen in the brain and linking them to behavior. So measuring something in a person, first of all, is kind of new to me, and measuring something that we can measure with a paper and pencil survey is very new to me, and writing about it is new. I've done a little bit of writing, but not too much writing about this particular topic. So I find myself in very much the same situation as a student does who's asked to do a big research paper like we do in our PSYC3530 classes, without having a whole lot of background information at the beginning. In reading the peer review papers that students need to cite in that research paper, they're really exposed to plenty of models of the ultimate product. So currently we're asking students to do a review paper in some area of psychology, and they're reading a lot of review papers in the process, and a lot of papers describing empirical studies as well. So there's plenty of models of science writing output or product that you can look at. And we're really asking students in these projects to sort of use that as a model and basically just make their paper look like that at the end. But we really don't provide a lot of models of the process of how one starts from a blank page and ends up with a coherent, clearly written piece of science writing at the end. So I wanted to try to demonstrate my writing that in a topic that is outside my main field of expertise, and sort of highlight some strategies that I used at every step of the process, so that I can provide a model of the steps that we take to, from the beginning to the end of not the entire chapter of the book, but of a small part. So what I want to focus on is the part that I contributed to the chapter, one of the parts I contributed to this chapter, which is a review of something called social cognitive career theory. And as you go through the screen capture videos, it'll be clear what that is. I chose this part of it just because it's relatively small, but an essential part of the whole chapter we ended up submitting, that it more or less stands on its own, and you don't need to have the context of what came before this part of the chapter and the details of our example study toward the end of the chapter. So to sort of give you an overview of what to expect in the coming videos, let me just show you this outline. So the first few things you'll see are it's sort of screen captures describing the steps I took before I got to the initial outline. So this includes, doing some really basic reading on self-efficacy itself, on social cognitive career theory. Then we'll go into the initial literature search. Start looking for papers in the databases, and how I'm deciding what papers to actually read and what papers to not pursue any further. And then we'll look at a couple of those papers. So after I've chosen some papers in the initial literature to actually read, this is without even deciding whether I'm going to include them as citations in the final part of the chapter we're talking about. Just some strategies for what I'm looking at in the paper. What am I reading? What am I highlighting? What do I think is important as I'm doing this initial literature search? And you'll notice that we're almost halfway through the overview of this process, and I haven't even written anything at all. I haven't even gone beyond this very bare bones outline that we'll sort of keep adding to. About midway through these videos, we'll start to expand the outline, and I'm still not even writing any sentences in this point. It's just making notes about what I intend to cover once I do start writing. And then back to the reading, so doing some more careful reading, doing some more searching for papers that I do definitely want to cite in the study, not just reading on background, but finding pieces of evidence in the reading that will support the argument that I'm making in this part of the chapter. And then we'll get into the beginnings of filling in that outline with some actual complete sentences. And then you'll see, in between these last two steps that I had to go back to the reading several times. I had to, I'd expand the outline a little bit, start to put down some complete sentences, and then go back to those papers and read and review and read some more. And then finally there's an extensive revision process where I'm going to review the things that I've written, edit, refine, revise, and then hopefully have a polished draft. And again, at the end, the final product you're going to see is not the finished product, but it's a draft that we would submit to the other authors that are on our team, to the editor of the book chapter, which would then get sent back to us to revise even further. So I hope that you get something out of these screen capture videos, and thanks very much.